My topic is on the Committee on Public Information. So, President Woodrow Wilson established this committee in 1917 in response to the U.S. entry into World War I. Its purpose was to use positive propaganda to get the public opinion in favor of the war efforts instead of shying away from it, which was mainly happening at that time. The first chairman was a man named George Creel. He was a pretty well-known journalist at that time, and Woodrow Wilson really trusted him to get his agenda completed. So the CPI worked abroad as well as on the home front to try and spread the positive propaganda about the U.S. everywhere, not just in America. Creel targeted newspapers mostly because, well, first he was a journalist, and also he knew that that was the best and most efficient way to get across to the American people. He also monitored them. So this era was a large time in censorship, and it was especially anti-German. So most of that World War I propaganda was focused on demonizing the Germans and making them seem less than human, so that everyone was in on defeating them, pretty much. Because of the anti-German move, the CPI also helped censor German movies, books, papers, anything like that. And they also censored any wartime footage or videos that made war seem negative or not as fun, really. Many anti-German posters were made, and they were pretty cartoon-like. That it was a pretty big era in graphic design, and they usually tried to make the war look almost like a fun, patriotic thing to do. Creel's CPI drew in a new generation of the best journalists, graphic designers, and advertisers to help in the cause, and it's part of why it worked so well. He also drew in the involvement of Hollywood, and they made a lot of positive propaganda movies. Minutemen was a term that came out at this time. He also preyed on the Americans' susceptibility to celebrity involvement, so he got as many celebrities involved as possible to try and make it seem more credible. Him and his committee helped distribute pamphlets, newspapers, and books internationally, not just in America, and this helped make Woodrow Wilson's ideas on democracy vastly popular all over the world. But by the end of World War I, the CPI's reputation declined, and Creel was not invited to be on Roosevelt's Office of War Information Committee, which was designed to promote World War II. This committee was similar to the Committee on Public Information, but they did think that CPI was not run well as it could have been, mostly because the propaganda notion at that time was well known as selling war instead of actually providing the public with what was happening and what they needed to do. But from the CPI, it did spur the 20th century's advertising industry, and it was so successful because it tried to utilize everyone in the war effort, from fighting to selling war bonds to promoting food conservation. And that's my video. Thank you.